I'm going to show you how you can sync two Google Calendars up together. This is useful if you maybe have two businesses, so you have two separate email addresses and two separate Google Calendars. Everything I found online, it shows you how to display events from one calendar in another, and that's what Google allows you to do, but I couldn't find any information, not from Google, not from anyone else online, as to how to actually block an event off. So if I were to have a client, for example, book in on this email here, james@hardbox.com.au, then I could block that event off in my other calendar. So if someone was trying to book with my other calendar, James at, let's go this one here, James at Health Coach Growth Hub, they wouldn't be able to book for the time that somebody already booked with my other business. Hope that makes sense. And so I couldn't find anything online as how you can actually block this off. So I thought I would go and work it out myself. And I want to share what I learned. Sorry for the terrible video, terrible lighting, whatever. I just wanted to stitch this together for my own reference so I can come back to it in the future. Hopefully it helps you as well. So first of all, you have to go and do exactly what Google says to be able to share your calendar with another Google Calendar. So once again, that's not going to fully block it out, but it will allow you to see, at least. It's the first step. And what you're going to want to do is go into the settings of your calendar and then go to the settings for my calendar, click on your name, and then go to shared with. So make sure it's the correct calendar and then shared with, and you can see the other email I have here. Make sure you add that. So add people and groups, add the email here. And then for permissions, you want to make sure it says make changes and manage sharing. So if you can't do make changes and manage sharing, it's probably because you have a privacy setting on in your Google search, Google admin console. So normally you might only be able to click if it's someone from outside of your organization. So in this case, you can see it's different domains. So it's healthcoachgrowthhub.com and hardbox.com.au, different domains. And by default, Google, if you have Google Workspace, the paid version of Google, they only allow you by default to share your calendar with people in your organization. So maybe James at healthcoachgrowthhub.com and Jamie at healthcoachgrowthhub.com. As long as the domain's the same, you can share. You should be able to make changes and manage sharing. But if it's different, then by default, Google is only going to allow you to go see only free, busy, high details. So we want to make sure that it says make changes and manage sharing. If you can't click that, then go into your Google admin console. So you can just go to admin.google.com. This is if you have Google Workspace. If you don't, you should be able to share your calendar with external calendars if you just have a free Google account. This is for people with a paid Google account. Now, go into admin.google.com, and then you want to go and just search for calendar. Setting, and then go into settings for calendar. So you can go apps, Google Workspace, and then settings for calendar if you want, or you can just search it. Easy to just search it. And then you want to go into this section here, the sharing settings. And you can see it right here, external sharing options for primary calendars. That's what we want to get to. So click on sharing settings. And then under external sharing options for primary calendars, we want to edit this. And by default, it should be set to only free/busy information, hide event details. But for this to work, what we need to do is tick share all information and allow managing of calendars. Click save. Do that for both your accounts if both have paid Google. If only one does, then you only need to do it for that one account, because you should by default be able to share your calendar with external organizations if it's a free Google account. Anyway, you get the point. So click that, and then you should be able to share your calendar within. This is within Google Calendars now. You should be able to make changes and manage sharing within both accounts. So if I go back to this from my other account, I made a black and dark mode and light mode so you can easily see the difference. Go to the calendar, go to shared with, add people and groups, type in the email, and then make sure it's set to make changes and manage sharing. So you can see exactly what it is here. Make changes and manage sharing for James at Health Coach Growth Hub, and make changes and manage sharing for James at hardbox.com.au. So now we've done that, we can move on to the next step, which is actually going to be writing a bit of code. Now, if you don't know how to code, that's fine. Just stick with me. I use ChatGPT to help me with this, but just copy and paste. I'll actually put it down in the description of this video. Just copy and paste that code and follow what I say, and it should work for you. Okay, so you want to go to script.google.com and then log in with your correct account. That's not my correct account. This one is my correct account. Okay. And basically, this allows you to write code for Google's apps. And start a new project. And then what I want you to do is copy and paste the code I give you. And it will be this code here. And what this is going to do is it's going to create an event. By the way, before I go into this, what we did before in the calendars where we make changes and manage sharing, what that allows you to do, let me just explain so you understand what you're actually doing. What that allows you to do is see the other person's events in your calendar. So if I look at, let's say, the week events here, if I tick this one here, you can see what's going on. Why do I have no events? Maybe I don't have that many calls, to be honest. All right, so if I were to tick, yeah, you can see if I tick, this is the shared calendar, the one that I shared from this account to the other account here. If I click this, I can see all the events that I have. And so I can see, okay, at 3 p.m. I have something on, or at 5 p.m. I have this meeting, for example. And the problem with that, as I said at the start of the call, is that you can see it, but it's not blocked out. So if somebody were to try and book an appointment with me, let's say they opened up my calendar and go, okay, I want to book an appointment with him. If I have something in my other calendar at 10 a.m. on March 4th, then that's not going to be blocked out. I can see that there's an overlap in events and I can make a change for that. But if you're getting a lot of booked appointments, then the problem with that is you're going to have to message people and fuck around with moving appointments around, and it's going to be a muck around. So it's better to just block that off in the other calendar. And that's what we're trying to do here. I hope I've explained that correctly. All right, so back to the app. This is what we're doing now. We can see it in each other's calendars, and now we want to block that time slot off. So if someone were to be booking on one business or one calendar, then that gets blocked off in the other calendar as well. That's what we're doing now. All right. My camera's disappeared. I'll bring it back for you. Don't know why that's not working. Whatever. My camera's gone. You're going to have to deal without it. So copy and paste this script. I'm going to put it in the description. And what you're going to want to change is these two sections here. So you can see the two emails I have, james@hardbox.com.au and james@healthcoachgrowthhub.com. So basically I'm saying calendar A is Hardbox and calendar B is Health Coach Growth Hub. And that's the key thing. That's what you're going to have to change. All the rest should be the same. So just copy and paste this and then change email 1 and email 2. And these are the emails associated with your Google Calendar accounts that you want to block off from one another. Okay, and then once you do that, then you want to click this little timing icon and set a trigger. So you want it to work automatically. And to do that, you just want to create a trigger. Click sync calendars, because that's the one that we just created. It should be the sync calendars, and then make sure the settings are the same. So which runs a deployment head, source event, select event source, time driven, minutes timer, and then every 15 minutes, which basically means every 15 minutes, it will run that script for you, that code that we just created. So that basically you can test this by, if I were to add an event, let's say on Friday the 7th in my calendar B, I could call that test event. Cool, save. Test event from 10 to 11 a.m. If we go to our first calendar, you can see, when was this? Friday the 7th at 10 to 11 a.m. Friday the 7th at 10 to 11 a.m. There's nothing in there right now. But every 15 minutes, that code is going to run, this code that we created, because we set that trigger for every 15 minutes, it's going to run and it's going to add that into my calendar. So you can manually make it run by clicking this run function here. So you click run and it's going to spend a minute executing it in the background. But what that's going to do is it's going to see what events you have and look, it's finished. So now if we go to the first calendar, Friday 10 to 11 a.m. Whoops. If we refresh that, should pop up in a minute. Friday, it's the wrong thing. Friday the 7th. Where's Friday the 7th? This. There we go. So you can see now it's popped up in this calendar. And I want to remove this calendar. So you can see, it's popped up. The event is in this calendar, the test event. and it's from 10 to 11 a.m. And now in the first calendar B, I think, or calendar A now, you can see it says blocked from calendar B, 10 to 11 a.m. So that means if somebody wanted to come in here and book with James at hardbox.com.au, they're not going to be able to, because 10 to 11 a.m. is booked in this calendar as well, and no one's going to be able to book with that. So if I were to go into my calendar here and go, okay, Friday at 10, what time did I say it was? Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. You can see currently on this booking calendar, it's available, 10:30 a.m. is available. But if I were to refresh this booking calendar, Friday the 7th at 10:30 is not available anymore. So the next available time is 11 a.m. And that's because I've blocked it out 10 to 11 a.m. in this calendar. Despite the event not coming from this calendar, the event was put into this calendar here. And so what this app is going to do is it's going to run every 15 minutes and automatically see what events are there. And also what it will do is that if I were to, let's say, reschedule this or even delete this event, so let's say I'm going to delete that event there, it's still going to be in here. So even if I refresh the calendar, it's still going to be in here from 10 to 11 a.m. But when that 15-minute timer hits and this script runs, it'll refresh everything. Now, let's say you are a bigger business and you have heaps of different appointments running and you're getting, an appointment every 5 minutes. You're probably you don't want to risk having a double booking in that 15-minute period where it's not running. And so if that's the case, by the way, you can see now that it's finished, the event has disappeared in the calendar. So there's no blocked events in either calendar, and that's all good. But what I was saying before was, if you're getting a lot of bookings in your business, then you might want to set the timer to run the trigger to run rather than every 15 minutes, you might want to make it run every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes. So that's just going to be running more frequently. The only problem with that is you only get a certain amount, depending on what plan you're on. If you're on a high Google Workspace plan, then you'll probably be okay. But if you're in a low Google Workspace plan or even a free plan, you're going to really struggle with hitting the limit that Google sets with like the maximum amount of scripts you can run in a day. Because if you're running it every 5 minutes, it's going to be running 3 times more per day than if it were every 15 minutes. So that's why I run it every 15 minutes. I don't want to hit that rate limit. I want it to be working 24 hours a day. And I don't get that many booked appointments. As I showed you before, my calendar's pretty empty in terms of client calls. I just do most of my work outside of calls, outside of meetings. So if you're someone who's always on calls 24/7 and you're getting booked, then I would recommend changing it to every 10 minutes or even every 5 minutes. That will just avoid people double booking. Because let's say somebody booked in this calendar here from 9:30 to 10 a.m. and it's 15 minutes to the next syncing, then somebody has a chance in that 15 minutes to come in and book in your first calendar the same 9:30 to 10 a.m. slot. If the 15-minute sync period hasn't happened and the event hasn't been blocked out in calendar A or calendar B, whatever calendar the other calendar is. So I hope that makes sense. If you need it, run it a bit more frequently. Otherwise, 15 minutes is fine. I use 15 minutes. It works fine for me. Hope that worked for you. I will paste the code in the description. And yeah, all the best. Bye.